Hello everybody, Mac here. Welcome back to the show. Go ahead and leave us a like because today we are taking a look at something that some of you may have been waiting to see for about a month now. I know I've been waiting to open this up, and that is the Valaverse Action Force Pandora version 2. Now this came, I think it was about a month ago, and there was an unboxing with it, so the mailer box here has already been opened. But this was originally a convention exclusive that was available in limited amounts on Valaverse's website. Since then, there must have been a high demand, and this was a very popular figure, because the Valaverse website was restocked. They had pre-orders, a second round of pre-orders up for this figure, and I believe it's been restocked on Valaverse's website. But also, this figure is now up for pre-order on Big Bad Toy Store. I will leave links to both of those resources at the bottom or in the description below. So what was supposed to be a convention exclusive now seems that it's just part of this Series 5 wave of figures. Like I said, I'm guessing because of the popularity, because of the demand for it. Now, in addition to this figure that's in this mailer box, and this is the figure that's decked out all in black leathers, there is a variant of this that is exactly the same figure, but she's wearing white leathers, and I will put an image of that right here. And that is what is available on Valaverse's website. That is a Valaverse.com exclusive. It is up for sale, but you can either get it with action points, or you can spend a little bit more money and get it without action points. Once again, link to that in the description below. Now, what we have here is a very cool mailer box. I like Valaverse's mailer boxes. I like the look of them. I like the design of them. I like this very simple, less is more kind of look that they have going on. It is basically just this brown box with Pandora's Devil's Grin logo on one side. I believe she does have this on her jacket on the figure inside. And then spinning it around, we just have the Action Force logo right here, which I like. Like I said, very simple, very plain. I really like the elegant simplicity of this. And then we just open this up. Like I said, I did an unboxing, so that's been cut open already. And here we have Pandora herself in her packaging with her new look. Like I said, all black leathers here. Mail-away figure, you saw, all white. Here we have her in a new blister packaging, which their blister packaging, their carded blister package is actually pretty cool. I like the heavy stock. It's very collector friendly. It also has this little foot right here that you can see it leans forward a little bit, but it still gives you the option of setting it down and displaying it like so. Like I said, heavy card stock. I really appreciate that. I also dig how with this one, it has her logo, her Devil's Grin right here, covering the Action Force logo as well. Now this one, obviously, I'm going to open up, but when the mail-away version of her, the white leather version of her, which I do have ordered, it just hasn't shipped yet. When that one arrives, that one I'll probably keep packaged, especially if it has like her logo covering the Action Force logo. I like that. I think that's really slick. Turning it around, we do not have a cross-sell. We do not have images from the other figures in the wave, because like I said, when this was done, it was just a convention exclusive. It wasn't part of a wave. I'd be curious to see if the ones that you get from Big Bad are going to have the same image, or if they'll redo it with, like, you know, the wave pictures on the back. Of course, maybe they don't do that. This is one of the first figures I've picked up from Valaverse in this carded version, so maybe it doesn't do it. I can't remember. I have a bunch that I have to open up, and I can't remember what they all look like at this point. Here we have her file card. File name, Miranda Kelly. Primary specialty, organized crime. Secondary skill, arson. Birthplace, Limerick, Ireland. Rank, affiliation, Devil's Grin. I'm pretty sure all of her file information down here is the same as the first one, but the rank / affiliation, Devil's Grin right there, I think they're turning Pandora into her own faction, because at one of the conventions this past summer, and I forget which convention it was, Bobby had said that they're going to be working on her crew, whether it's a biker gang or just a gang of mercenaries, I'm not sure. But he said they're going to be working on her crew, which to me means that she's going to become her own affiliation, her own faction in Action Force. And Action Force definitely does not want for factions. So, without further ado, let's just rip this open so we can take a look at her. And let's look at Valaverse Action Force Pandora version 2. Okay, here she is, Pandora, out of her packaging, and putting the tape measure to her, we can see that she is roughly, well, pretty much dead on 6 1/4 to the top of her head. Okay, so first off, I do want to say that I think they did a fantastic job on this figure from pretty much head to toe. I think the sculpt on it is fantastic. I think the paint apps on it is fantastic. Like the deco that they did right here on the silvering for the zippers on her leather jacket, down here on the sleeves. The zippers are on the wrong side, but that's neither here nor there. The buckling, look at the buckles of the belt, the ringlets of the belt right here, the buckling of her thigh holsters, the zippers on her pants. They might have gone a little overboard with the zippers on the pants. It kind of reminds me of like the parachute pants I used to wear as a kid in the 80s. But, and then we get down here to the boots, and I really like how the boot is a sort of a different black than her pants right here. That it's shiny, this is more matte, this is textured, this is smooth, really separating like the boot from the leg right here. And once again, we have some really great paint applications for the buckling on her boots. And then on the back, of course, we have her big Devil's Grin logo tampoed on the back of her jacket. It's just too bad they had to put that hole right in the middle. This is one instance where, like, I think I would have taken just a solid piece and not be able to give her a backpack in lieu of punching a hole right through that, because that looks really good. I love the shade of black that they used along with the texturing for her leathers. I think that looks really good. Also, if we get her arm up out of the way here, you can see that there's like quilting right here on the inside jacket under her arm, and then she has the laces going up the back right here. I love that they used the same shade of red on her for this one that they used on the previous Pandora. The only red on the previous Pandora that really stands out differently is her scarf right here, but like the pistols, the knife blade, her saw, all of it is basically the same shade of red that she has right here. Now, underneath the belt, you can also see how her leather pants lace up. And truthfully, the belt for this knife right here, the knife sheath, I'm probably going to heat her up in some hot water and pop the waist off to get the belt off, because I'm not a big fan of this with this look. Like, I like it on, going back to the original, I like it on this one. I think it works. I mean, this is more of a tactical version of Pandora. On this one, I think I'm going to take it off and just give her her holsters right here. So I think the sculpt and the paint apps, everything about this looks fantastic. And then if you look underneath here, this is basically the same buck as the original Pandora. It's just that they modified it to give the tank top some ribbing right there. And that was a pleasant surprise. That's really cool that they updated the buck like that, because you can see, like, especially right there across her stomach, the ribbing of her tank top, where if we set that down for a minute and we bring in the original, whoop, let's get her armor off. You can see with the original right here, it's a smooth finish instead of having that ribbed design. So I really dig that they used the original buck, but they were able to modify it to make it different from this one. So that's very much appreciated. I really do think the whole body of this looks great. Like this, I could totally see this being like, you know, a more casual Pandora. When she's going out taking a ride on the bike, rather than when she's ready to like firebomb an embassy or something. One issue that I have, and there's a couple that I have with this, but one issue, and a lot of these are minor or nitpicks, but you can see that through here, the torso isn't painted. So you can kind of see the flesh tone coming through the sleeve of the jacket, because this is just a separate piece that can come off. The arms are molded to look like this. So we will be taking this off in a minute, just because there's something I want to show you that it actually looks really cool. But I do like how they did the jacket, I just wish that like they would have found a way to, on the inside, paint the body so that was black as well, because honestly it's not like you're going to take the jacket off and pose this version of her without the jacket, because she's still going to have these black leather arms right here. So with all of that out of the way, let's take a look at the articulation, that she can do a full 360 with her head. Also, her ponytail articulates. As a matter of fact, her ponytail comes out and she can swap it for the other one, which we'll take a look at in a moment here. She can look up very well. She can look down very well. She has some head tilt side to side, not a whole lot. The arms, let's get this moved. The arms will do a full 360. There is no butterfly joint. They will come up to 90. They have the bicep swivel. We have double jointed elbows that will fold up all the way. Wrists pivot. Wrists hinge up and down. She does have that standard Valaverse, arm out of the way. She does have that standard Valaverse torso action, that she has the cut right there, that she can get a full range of movement right there at that ab cut. There is a ball joint at the waist that lets her tilt forwards and back. There she is going forward. There she is going back. The ball joint at the waist doesn't do much for twisting because of the mold of the crotch piece right there. It just sort of seats in there. But like I said, if you go with this piece, if you go with this piece up top, you can get a full 360 spin out of her. Drop down legs that even with the holsters on will come forward past 90. They will go back that far. With the holsters on, they will kick out to 90 as well. Really good. Thigh cut. Double jointed knees that are a little tight on mine. Got to heat those up. But once again, they will fold up all the way, just like her arms. We do have, we do have a boot cut. Ankles will rock back. Ankles will rock forward a little bit. And forward facing pin for some rocker. Okay, something interesting that I noticed with the arms, that if we take the arms and we bring them straight up, you can see they come up to 90 fairly well, but that's just bringing them straight out to the sides. However, if we take them and we put them forward and then we try to pull them back, we can't go any further than that, because there is some collision right here, that the sculpt of the elbow, or I'm sorry, the shoulder, the sculpt of the shoulder bulges out a little. And if you look inside there, it doesn't look like the socket is a perfect circle. It's a little bit of an oval. So that whenever you bring it out like this, it's actually colliding. There's plastic on plastic violence going on right there. And it's the same on both sides. It's not just one arm. Well, that one, oh, what the heck? That one's making a liar out of me now. That one I can get to come out to the side. This one, I don't know if you can see it, is hitting, and yeah, I can't bring it back any further than that. This one was doing the same thing. I wonder what the difference is. It has to be the shape of the socket in there, because I don't think that socket on the right side is a perfect circle. Okay, so if we do this, if we bring the arm up like that and then grab the shoulder piece, we can twist it back. And then that's how we can get it out to the side. That is a tight fit, and when you push it forward again, it sort of pops back into place, but then when you bring it out, it's still hitting that right there. So you can bring it up like that, and then brute force it back, and maybe that will also start to open up the socket right there. Okay, so out of her packaging, Pandora comes with a set of trigger hands. And this is another issue that I have with it. In the packaging, you saw that the revolvers were sort of perched in her hands, like so. They weren't fully like set into a trigger position, but she was holding them. And I think that deformed the hands a little bit, because if you look at them, they're really opened up. And this is even after I've tried to close them down a little bit, that they really seemed stretched out. And we've seen that Valaverse is going to a softer plastic for the hands, which I don't have a problem with. But if you're going to ship a figure with the weapons in their hands, it's going to make the hand stretch out and deform a little bit. But you can see we can push that down to get it to close in a little bit more. But That, I feel like, that's like a nitpick, but I just wanted you to be aware of it because I feel like if we heat that up, we'll be able to get them to close because you can see I'm getting, not, it's starting to open a little bit more on its own. Well, time will hopefully draw that in as well. She also comes with a pair of clenched fists, and every hand accessory you see after this is going to hinge in and out instead of up and down like the trigger hands do. She has a pair of standard gripping hands, and she also comes with an Action Force Standard, which are some of my favorite hand accessories of any action figure line, and that is her weapon cradling hands. So now with all that out of the way, we are going to get to the one issue that I do have with this figure, and it's a pretty big one, and from what I've seen online, a lot of people have the same issues that I do, and that is this face sculpt. I saw on Instagram somebody commented on this and said, what, is Valaverse trying to make Pandora the Action Force version of Joker? And I can't argue with them when I look at this. The first thing I thought when I got this in hand was, wow, Bobby must be a big fan of Rhea Ripley. So, what makes it different? First of all, that just is so cartoonish. Like, if we bring in the original, if we take a look at this, this looks real. Like, this looks like a person. This looks like, if this was a Marvel Legends figure, like, this would be the MCU version, and this would be the comic book version. And I kind of like this a lot better. Like, I dig that they wanted to make her look more maniacal, more like she's really enjoying what she does. And the ponytail, the hair pulled back into the ponytail because Pandora's grown out her hair since then. That's really cool too. Also, having the articulated and interchangeable ponytail is really cool. But this just looks more real to me. This, like I said, is kind of like a comic book or a cartoon version. Also, I don't know if you've noticed, but with going to a new plastic or a different type of plastic, this has a very, very glossy sheen to it. Whereas this one is, in the face anyway, more matte, less shiny of a dome. So I do think this is my, this one and the one that came with the accessory kit is still my preferred head sculpt for Pandora. But taking a look at this one, well, the paint apps are flawless, but the other issue that I think, and it really makes this stand out, is this is just like one big white piece. There's like no teeth really in there, and if there are, it's very hard to see. I think something like the second head sculpt that comes with this does a better job of trying to convey what they're conveying right here, and that's just like, you know, I'm going to blow stuff up, and I'm going to enjoy it. On the back, if we flip the ponytail up out of the way, we do have the tattoo on the back of her skull, which is very cool. She's wearing her earrings. They're a different color on this one. Like I said, we do have an articulation for the ponytail, but the articulation doesn't really do much. Oh, wow, Valley Girl right there. Holy cow. The articulation doesn't really do much because there's only really two positions that it will fit in. Especially this one that's coming up and over. So we have that face sculpt with that ponytail, but we can pull this one out. And where's the other one? Let me get this one. And then we have this one that we can socket in as well. And I'm really not sure what they were going for with this one. There's like no real natural way for it to lay, unless this is supposed to just be like an action ponytail going on. Because it's, I appreciate having a second one. They did, Hasbro did this with Scarlet, but this one, that's just an odd curl to it, I feel. I don't know, what do you think? Let me know what you think of this one. Like, I do appreciate getting options, but that's just kind of a weird bend to it. So we can also pop this head off, and we can put this head on, because she does come with an alternate head that doesn't fit very well. Hold on. Okay, there we go. It does take a little brute forcing to get this head down on the ball socket, just because, or on the ball joint, because the socket just doesn't seem like it's drilled out enough. It doesn't seem like it's big enough. You might want to ream that out just a hair to get it to pop on there a little better. So on this one, I do like the expression better. It's less cartoony, less like mustache twirling villain type thing. So this kind of makes her own character. The teeth still have that issue in there, but they did a really good job on the black lipstick. They did a really good job on the eyes. And I think the other thing that makes it less cartoonish is that they didn't like raccoon her eyes on this one. This one, and I don't mean to keep doing this, but this one is much more in line with this one right here. It's just, once again, she went heavier on the lipstick than she did on that. But the eye paint, I think, being more muted, being more toned down like that, gives her a better, more realistic look. Also, just like the the cocked sneer right there, and you can see like the Glasgow smile sort of offset as well. I really like that. I think that's really cool. Once again, we can pop the ponytail off and we can put this one on. And that doesn't look bad right there. But what I really like is this. I mean, you knew it was going to happen. You knew I was going to show you. I really like this body with this face sculpt, with this head option right here. I think that looks really good, I feel. I really dig the look of that. And one last thing I want to show you before we go on to her accessories. I told you that this comes off, but the sleeves are part of her arm. But we also have our standard Pandora back there. There's something I want to show you. So this is what she looks like with that leather vest jacket part off, that you can see the full sculpt of the tank top. You can see that like even the wrinkles in the shirt are the same as the standard buck. Just once again, they just gave her that ribbing right there. But also we can see just the arms being black and coming up to the shoulders. And we can even see how that collides with the sculpt. And then we bring that up. And then we twist that, and that's how we get it inside there. And you can see it pop out. So yeah, this right here isn't molded into a good enough circle. But that's not what I wanted to show you. What I wanted to show you was this. Our first gen Pandora with the sleeveless vest on that basically just turns this into her cut. And you can still see her arm tattoos. She's wearing her jeans. You got the devil's grin right there. I have to admit, I think that's kind of BA right there. I really do. The only other thing I might try to do is maybe do a torso swap. Do an arm swap and a torso swap so that she has the white tank on underneath all of that. I wonder how that would look. Oh, I do wonder how that would look. But, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think of this look? I kind of dig it. Like I said, this... especially with having like the devil's grin on the back, this really does like turn it into her cut like whenever she's on her bike. So I don't know, that's an option too. And options are always good. I really dig that. So the first thing we're going to take a look at as far as the accessories go are her sidearms, and that is these twin revolvers right here. These sort of snub-nosed revolvers. They look like little magnums. I don't hate this sculpt. I don't hate this sidearm. I have another Valaverse figure that has this as a sidearm. I can't remember which one it is, but it's definitely not my favorite. As far as the revolvers go, my favorite that they've put out so far has been the big hand cannon that came with Sergeant Slaughter, who I now have in the hands of Zartan. But these aren't bad. Now, one thing, if we take a look at right here, you can see that like she's sort of holding it on an angle. And once again, I do think that is because the hands got a little stretched out, a little deformed. But if you don't want to store them in her hands for now, as you saw, she does have these dual hip holsters right here that the revolvers fit in there very well. Very snug fit. Very snug fit. Looks perfect in there. Real nice. Now, one thing I wanted to try with her, because I'm not a big fan of the revolvers, is I wanted to take the automatics that came from the accessory pack of the original one, because I do like these much better, even though they're smaller, and they are a little harder for her to hold right now. But it's not a perfect fit, but you can get the automatics down into those holsters as well. Yes, it has the little bit of the side bulge right here for the chamber, for the cylinder right there. And they sink in a little too low, actually. You'd have to cheat a little, bring them out. There, set them up like that to look good. So it's not a perfect fit, but you can get them in there if you would want to give her her automatics instead of these revolvers right here. The only other accessory that she comes with as far as weapons go is her knife right here. And this is the same sculpt that we've seen numerous times. This came with the standard version of Pandora. This knife came with the Pandora accessory pack. And now we're getting it with this version of Pandora. And I can guarantee that we're going to get it with the white version of Pandora once that comes in as well. The big difference here is that this one has red painted on the back of the blade. And this one, this is the one that came with the accessory pack, has red in the handle. Also, we can see that there is a bit more of a paint app right here in the handle where it hit it with like 2 spots of silver right there at the butt of it. So this is our new knife. And for as small as it is, it does fit very well into her gripping hand. She has a real solid grip on it. And I was surprised. I thought that was going to be loose in there. But we can also take that out, and she has the holster, or the sheath, on the back right here. And that slips in. I think I like the other one better, because while it is cool to have the back blade painted right there, I think that whenever you put the one that came with the accessory pack in, that extra splash of red right there, like, helps it stand out, helps it pop a little. This just gets lost in the whole thing. But maybe that's what you want when you're in a knife fight. I'm talking about being on the shelf. But that's all of the accessories that she comes with. And she does have the ability, as you can see, to have all of the accessories just decked out on her while she's standing there. And speaking of standing there, the last piece that we have to take a look at is, of course, the figure stand that she comes with. All Action Force figures have one. This is the new one that looks more like, you know, gravel and grit and ground with the Action Force logo carved into it. Once again, we do have multiple peg points on here. Instead of 4, it looks like we have 6 this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's more posing options. And of course, we do have the trench running down the back to tack the file card into. And now for size comparison, here she is beside the Valaverse Action Force version 1 of herself and Bone Collector version 2. Here she is beside Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Series Zarana and Ripper. Here she is beside Hasbro Marvel Legends Daredevil Elektra and Blade. Here she is beside the Frazetta Girls Icon Collectibles Fire and Ice Tigra and the Big Bad Workshop and Fresh Monkey Fiction Operation Monster Force Crimson Moon Sleepwalker. And finally, here she is beside NECA Toys, Dungeons & Dragons, Warduke, and Grimsword. So I like this version of Pandora. I really do. But I don't know if I like this version better than the original version. This version is very monotone. Even though that monotone is black leather and, you know, the white tank top underneath, it's still very monotone. I feel like the original one, especially with the bare arms and the wraps on her hands and wrists and the tattoos showing, I feel like that one has a little bit more pop, stands out a little bit more on the shelf than this version does. However, I can also see a lot of people wanting to pick this up because the original version, even the re-release, is no longer available. So it's cool that we have this version of Pandora out to grab, especially if she is going to be heading up her own faction now in the Action Force line. The sculpted details on her jacket and pants are fantastic, as well as like the thigh holsters. The paint apps, especially on all of the silver buckling and the zippers, are immaculate. Mine, I honestly could not find fault or find flaw in any of the silvering in the zippers, in the boot buckles, in the holster buckles, or even like all of the buckles and zippers that are on the jacket, other than the wrist zippers should be on the inside, not the outside. The new face sculpts, I'm not a big fan of. They're a little too shiny, they look a little too comic booky, a little too cartoony. The alternate face sculpt I do think is much better than the primary one, the one that comes on the figure when you open her up out of the packaging. And that secondary one is probably going to be the one that I use when I'm displaying her. Although I think what I'm going to do is I do think I'm going to take like parts from each Pandora and sort of like kit bash them together to get the version of her that I want, which is either going to be this version decked out all in black, but with the version 1 head mounted on it, or I'm going to take the vest, the leather jacket that'll turn into a vest off of this one, put it on the version 1, and make that like her biker cut. I do wish we would have gotten something a little bit more as far as the accessories go, especially the weapons. We have the twin revolvers to replace the twin automatics that the original came with. And we have the knife that sheathes on the back, but I think like a primary weapon, some like standout primary weapon would have been really good. I think this would have been like a great time to reissue the saw, her color specific saw that came with her accessory pack. I think it would be a great time to reissue that. I think that you could have also maybe done something else like maybe like a submachine gun or something done up in her colors. Just something more to be like a primary weapon to really stand out. I do think it's missing that. I think what's going to sell this figure is the look. This is a really cool look for her. Even though I've said I may like the first version better, I do like the look of this figure. I do love Pandora's look on this in this version. I think it's solid. I think it looks good. I do think it's going to stand out, just maybe not as much as the original one does. And to give you some idea, like I said, I have ordered the third version of Pandora, which is basically this, all in white with a red tank top. So that tells you something right there about how much I do like this version of her. We got a lot more action for us to take a look at. My Night Op Senshi is on the way. We have the Praetorians, and we have a lot of G.I. Joe to get caught up on, as well as a few other things from Frazetta Girls. So January, we should be getting through a lot of stuff that we missed in December during the holidays. Happy New Year, everyone. The holidays are over, and it's great to have you all back. To celebrate the new year, go ahead and leave a like on the video. And while you're at it, you might as well subscribe if you haven't already. If you're a returning subscriber, I would like to thank you for coming back and joining me for 2025. If you would like to help this community of collectors grow, you can do so by joining the Steel Core. You can do that by becoming a channel member or a coffee page subscriber. Either one gets you access to members-only videos, the Discord, and eventually members-only live streams, all for $1 a month. You can join by clicking on the button below this video or by clicking the link to my coffee page in the description below. It's a new year and new things are coming to the channel. So play well, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.